Yo, what's good, family? Y'all know what it is. Tetra 127 back at you with another Tetra Tuesday topic. Today's topic is going to be over purpose. It's your boy, Didymus, aka Chevis, and I have with me the lovely, awesome, amazing, beautiful,
Accolades.
sexy, intelligent,
It's just me. It's just Simone, aka author S.D. Johnson, and also the owner of the Black Phoenix Reading Rebirth.
Awesome. So, like I said, today we're going to jump into our topic of purpose as we're going through the pillar foundations of Tetra 127. Mm-hmm. We went over identity last time, and we really focused on how your identity comes from within you and is innately given to us because God Himself, our Creator, made us in His own image and likeness. And so we're going to continue with that theme as we talk about purpose today. So, babe, as we think about purpose and thinking about your own purpose in life, both, just your general purpose and how God created you, as well as specific purposes, how did you find your purpose? And then, how do you operate in it?
That's a good question. And I was thinking about it a little bit beforehand a minute ago, how to answer it properly. So I think my purpose is that thing that I'm most passionate about, which is connecting with other people. And I've seen that play out and manifest in my life through mentoring. Chevis and I have done a ton of mentoring to youth. And so being able to pour into other people. One of my life mottos that I tell people all the time, be who you needed when you were younger. And so I've been able to exercise that. And that has also made me feel challenged in certain ways because it holds me to a standard to where I have to do better so that way I can pour into other people. And then it also fulfills me because I feel like I'm walking in what God has called me to do. So I think that's a huge piece of my purpose outside of being, a child of God, outside of being a wife and a mother and a this and a that. Like we get caught up into all these titles, but I truly think my purpose comes from, my passions. And so definitely mentoring, pouring into other people, and then also through writing. I believe a lot of what's inside of me comes out through my writing.
Awesome. For me, I guess I would start off saying my general purpose is being able to express what God created us for in the first place. Mm-hmm. Like helping individuals understand that God in His infinite power and just in love and everything, He thought of us so much that He's like, you know what? Instead of, having a whole bunch of people like the angels and stuff in heaven, instead of having physical people here with me where they can't have any kind of rulership or dominion or anything like that, I'm going to create a place called Earth. And I'm going to create an environment in it to where I can place these people who have my spirit in them. They're going to be like mini me's basically, but they're going to be it in the earthly realm. And so they can have dominion in whatever their sphere of influence is. When I think about that, it's just like, I would have done, this probably even isn't proper English. I would have done so much less stuff when I was younger if I really understood that.
Right.
Instead, I was out, smoking, drinking, messing with silly women in the clubs, shootouts, fights, stupid stuff like that, not understanding what my true purpose and calling in life was. Mm-hmm. And so as I began to understand that, it really shaped my my whole future, my whole outlook on life. I tell people all the time, every decision, like your life is like a cycle of three things. It starts in your mind as a decision, and then it goes into your actions. And then after your actions, there's a consequence. Consequences can be, good or bad.
Yeah. Yep.
But consequences are consequences. And when that happens, you go right back to your mindset again. So it depends on how you adjust to things. Sometimes you keep getting a bad consequence, but for whatever reason, you don't change your mindset. So what do? You repeat the same actions, mm-hmm. and you keep getting the same consequences over and over and over again, which, whoever made this up, whoever came up with it, doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different result is the definition of insanity.
Right, and I think those are the types of behaviors that can lead you away from your purpose. A lot of us have to go through certain trials in our lives to even understand what our purpose is. I think had I had not gone through certain things in my life, made the stupid decisions that I made growing up, that I wouldn't even be privy of what God could use me to do, because ultimately our purpose is not our own. I truly believe our purpose is something that's God-given, that we're supposed to give to other people. So like our words and our actions and our exaltation of God can truly change somebody else. And so whatever that gift or talent is that God has given us, I think we can use that for his kingdom. And so therefore lies our purpose. So, for me, whether it's writing, mentoring, connecting, I'm a very relational type person. So through that, being able to, reflect God, through those different mediums.
Yeah. I had a song that I had written called 2020. Everybody talks about 2020 vision, and specifically the phrase that just says, hindsight is 2020. And I was basically saying, like, if I knew what I know now back when I was a child, my smiles would turn to frowns, because hindsight is 2020. And like, I lost so many different people in my life, whether that's to death or even, to the penitentiary system, individuals who, I'll never get to see again. Certain individuals who I may get to hear from, if they are locked up for a long time or doing life sentences, but we will never have that same relationship that we had before. And I get to thinking back to like, man, what could I have been doing that entire time? What could we have been doing? What if we had better examples of what a young male should look like, growing into adulthood and things of that nature. And so I just like, if it doesn't have to do with your purpose, you should have little to do with it. Now, I'm not saying, obviously, this time for recreation and play, video games for most people doesn't have anything to do with your purpose. So, I'm not telling you not to play video games, but at the same time, I'm telling you to prioritize your things that you're doing. Don't just be playing video games all day. But more importantly, for things like I was saying before, if I would have spent time, I played football and basketball in high school. I was a McDonald's All-American, invited, to different camps and stuff. I wanted to go play in the league, maybe play overseas and stuff like that. But if I would have spent more time in the gym, shooting jump shots, perfecting my handles and things of that nature, I probably would have made it to the top. Unfortunately, I relied on my skill, and for the most part, I was just out running the streets. I mean, it just is what it is. And I didn't dedicate myself like I should have been doing. Even when I got to college, I still wasn't fully dedicated to the sport. And then, unfortunately, I ended up having some knee surgeries. And so, that kind of just derailed my whole career. I think it was a God move, but at the same time, I think maybe if I would have prioritized and stewarded the skills that I had before, maybe God would have allowed me to go a different route. So.
Absolutely. To much is given, much is required. God definitely wants us to be good stewards over everything that he gives to us. And that, the same would be true for your gifts and your talents. Like, one thing that I do know to be true is, like, if you don't know what your purpose is, and there's that saying, if you don't stand for anything, then
you'll stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Yeah, you'll fall for anything. And so the same is true with your purpose. If you don't know what your purpose is, somebody else, your environment, your influences, your distractions, those can become your purpose. Those can become an idol, and an idol can take the place of what God has given you as purpose. And so truly tapping into his word, praying a lot, and then putting yourselves in environments for success. A lot of the business gurus, I've read their books, read their material, and they all talk about surrounding yourselves with people who are where you want to be, and making sure that even if it's not like a tangible mentor, but like you're able to soak in like their reading material and emulate what they convey in their business, so that way you can duplicate that. So what a perfect way to read the word of God and then duplicate that within your own life, so that way you're living out the principles, therefore your purpose shall be revealed, even if you don't know it at that time. And so just making sure that you know what your focus is. You have to know when it's time to be in a season to do life with people, when it's time to move on from those seasons of life with people to do other things, but all in all, keeping Christ first. So.
Man, Author SD Johnson, she be dropping gems. Y'all tap in for real, seriously. But yeah, I think a lot of times we do have those distractions, whether they be people, whether they be other activities, whether they be our own insecurities. Sometimes can be our distractions. When you think about you get put on a platform, even when you feel like God has put you in this place, like it's just a divine appointment for me. But you look around and you feel like you're inadequate.
Man, imposter syndrome.
Man,
Got a book coming.
imposter syndrome.
Imposter
Yeah,
syndrome
like,
is real, and even stuff like that can pull you from your purpose because you're not putting your confidence and your strength and your wisdom in God, and you're walking in your own flesh. Your flesh may not be able to stand in that moment, but God can, and so you talk yourself out of or remove yourself out of situations that God meant for you to make an impact in.
Yeah. And not really understanding that it's not even about you. You may not think you're qualified. You may not think you're the best, whatever, public speaker or whatever, because you're not super charismatic like somebody else is. But the gift that's coming out of you is meant for somebody else. And if you're too afraid to express that gift the way God has created you to express it, then the person that he created you to reach is not going to get reached. And unfortunately, like a curriculum that I've read before, Hadassah 4:14 says, who knows if you were created for such a time as this? But if you decide for whatever reason that you don't want to take this responsibility, don't worry. God can raise up somebody else. So God gonna handle his business. But wouldn't you much rather it be through you if that's who he intended it for?
Right. And then if you think about it, like there are people that, your pastor, your mentor, whoever it may be, they may not have the same relationship with certain people or the certain reach, but you have a specific reach. Like my demographic is not going to be the same as his, and vice versa. Our pastor, like he may not reach the people who we cater to and who we mentor, but we can. And so you should never feel like Gideon. So Gideon is always feeling like I'm the least in my father's house. I can't be doing this stuff. God is like, why not? Why not you? And so why not you? Why not walk into your purpose? Why not see what God has on the other side for you?
Man, that's beautiful. That's beautiful. So yeah, now that we talked about purpose, we're gonna end it here, and we got one more pillar for y'all. So just be thinking about it. But we're gonna talk about legacy next time. So you got your you got your identity, you got your purpose. Now it's time to walk in your legacy. So remember, you were designed by the divine. And once you know your worth, then you got to show your worth, because legacy is everything. Welcome to the Tetra Life.